a combination of exploration of various levels that can move through and glancing tactical turn-based combat, with a few other unique things we are going to dive into in this video. But first and foremost, let's talk difficulty. There are a variety of difficulty options, including an Iron Man mode, alongside for preset difficulties, and this changes mostly the usual stuff. Health damage 80, so if you are playing on the harder difficulties, it helps to be a little more tactical with your use of things like utility items such as the grinders and understanding the combat mechanics. A little bit so, I would tell you, as somebody who plays a lot of those style of games, normal was very easy, so if you are veteran I would probably just go straight to hard more. From there though, let's talk story setup for this title. The story is relatively simple and really don't want to spoil too much, because while we are technically playing as the main characters, Scarlet, we will be picking up other companions along the way to help us out in combat, and each one of them does for the most part have their sort of individual goals. But Scarlet is here for revenge, which they tell you in just the first missions or two, and we will leave it at that. Otherwise, I would say the story is okay. It mostly serves as a vehicle to move you through this contest with sufficient motivation, so I think it's safe to say with games like this the story is not exactly the big focus here, so much as exploration and combat is next up. So I want to talk about progression systems. Progression in this game is relatively simple, mostly comes down to level skills, gears, teammates and fame. So as you participate in combat and everything, you will be gaining levels up to a maximum of 20. As you gain levels, you will also be gaining skill points, starting at 2 per level, but then this increases over time, so eventually at level 12 you will be able to get all of the skills. So on your way to that point, which ones you pick are relatively important, with Zeus doing this from granting each character something unique to them, such as an active ability of some sort, or more basic things like extra movement range of potentially melee damage than we have our teammates themselves. We don't have to fight, so this thing alone, the variety of teammates will get each comes with their own unique abilities and playstyles, such as Tybals, who is able to mimic the enemy to swap their appearance, basically, which will cause other enemies to attack that enemy, which can be a good way to force the enemy to waste their turns and also kill their own people. But he can also later do things like hack warriors, robot enemies, and make them fight for you, just to give an example. But then we also have other characters like Phantom we get later on, who becomes our sort of class. Cannon sniper type, who is capable of one-shooting most enemies, but it herself pretty frail. But then we have our last big progression system, I would say, which is famous. We participate in the contest, both winning various battles as well as talking to our friends. We can earn fame every time we hit a 10 level of fame. We can pick a sponsor which will offer a variety of benefits. However, as we move throughout the levels, we can socially take autographs for funds, and this gives us an opportunity to boost their personality score. Some sponsorship are locked behind those personality scores, so we have to be either like Cookie or Funny in order to take attain sponsors, but there will always be an option available to you regardless. And in the late game, some of those sponsorship bonuses are incredibly strong, such as that one that can potentially give you a free reload in combat. But overall, I have gotta say I enjoy the fame mechanic, just because of how thematic it is to the rest of the game, and signing autographs for various fans sometimes comes with this ridiculous little back and forth that really show the state of the world itself, and the sort of casual disagreed for life that this show has brought on. But then we have the gear system. I would say the gear is a little bit underwhelming. Most of it is also specific to each character you will be getting, so each one of them will have a certain type of gun available to them as well as implants, and these will change up various things for you customize a little bit of what they are capable of, but overall it's a little too simple to be interesting. Most of the most weapons are that with a very clear progressions, where what you want is just simply more damage, because while some weapons come with things like status effects, their base weapon damage is usually reduced to a point where that status effect is not really worth it, at least in my experience, and then the implants for each character usually just let you do things like increase melee damage or your movement range with some of them. So thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel and press like button on this video. Goodbye.